tragedy,
tragedy,
悲しい出来事や事故。
The event was a national tragedy.
the event was a national tragedy.
They suffered a personal tragedy.
They suffered a personal tragedy.
The play is a classic tragedy.
The play is a classic tragedy.
Tragedy,
Tragedy,
accompany,
accompany,
一緒に行く、または伴うこと。
she will accompany me to the event.
she will accompany me to the event.
Music accompanied the ceremony.
Music accompanied the ceremony.
He was accompanied by his assistant.
He was accompanied by his assistant.
Accompany,
Accompany,
score,
score,
競技やテストの点数、またはその点数をつけること。
he scored the winning goal.
he scored the winning goal.
The movie scored high with critics.
The movie scored high with critics.
She scored 90% on the test.
She scored 90% on the test.
Score,
Score,
farewell,
farewell,
さよならを言うこと、またはそのさよなら。
they said their farewells at the airport.
They said their farewells at the airport.
He gave a heartfelt farewell speech.
He gave a heartfelt farewell speech.
The farewell party was emotional.
The farewell party was emotional.
Farewell,
Farewell,
ridiculous,
ridiculous,
笑えるほど馬鹿げていること。
the idea seemed absolutely ridiculous.
the idea seemed absolutely ridiculous.
He looked ridiculous in that outfit.
He looked ridiculous in that outfit.
It's ridiculous to worry so much.
It's ridiculous to worry so much.
Ridiculous,
Ridiculous,
inevitable,
inevitable,
必ず起こる、または避けられないこと。
the accident was inevitable.
the accident was inevitable.
Change is inevitable.
Change is inevitable.
They faced the inevitable conclusion.
They faced the inevitable conclusion.
Inevitable,
Inevitable,
funeral,
funeral,
死者を弔う儀式。
Many attended the funeral service.
many attended the funeral service.
The funeral procession was solemn.
The funeral procession was solemn.
They planned a private funeral.
They planned a private funeral.
Funeral,
Funeral,
Reserve.
Reserve.
事前に確保すること、または保護された地域。
I need to reserve a table for dinner.
I need to reserve a table for dinner.
He kept his opinions in reserve.
He kept his opinions in reserve.
The wildlife reserve protects endangered species.
The wildlife reserve protects endangered species.
Reserve.
Reserve.
Propose.
Propose.
提案または計画を提示すること。
He proposed a new plan.
He proposed a new plan.
She proposed marriage to him.
She proposed marriage to him.
I propose that we take a break.
I propose that we take a break.
Propose.
Propose.
Reception.
Reception.
歓迎するイベント、または情報を受け取る場所。
The wedding reception was lively.
The wedding reception was lively.
The hotel reception is on the ground floor.
The hotel reception is on the ground floor.
The new policy received a mixed reception.
The new policy received a mixed reception.
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 Wake.
Wake.
目覚め、または何かが後に続くこと。
She woke up early in the morning.
She woke up early in the morning.
The disaster left destruction in its wake.
The disaster left destruction in its wake.
We held a wake for the deceased.
We held a wake for the deceased.
Wake.
Wake.
Financial.
Financial.
お金や資金に関連すること。
He gave us financial advice.
He gave us financial advice.
The company is in financial trouble.
The company is in financial trouble.
She's looking for financial security.
She's looking for financial security.
Financial.
Financial.
Fetch.
Fetch.
何かを取ってくること。
Please fetch me a glass of water.
Please fetch me a glass of water.
The dog loves to fetch the ball.
The dog loves to fetch the ball.
He went to fetch his coat.
He went to fetch his coat.
Fetch.
Fetch.
Craft.
Craft.
手作業による芸術作品、または作ること。
She learned the craft of weaving.
She learned the craft of weaving.
He crafted a beautiful sculpture.
He crafted a beautiful sculpture.
The boat is a fine example of craft.
The boat is a fine example of craft.
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 Weapon.
weapon,
攻撃や防御に使用する道具。
The soldier carried a weapon.
the soldier carried a weapon,
Nuclear weapons are a global threat.
nuclear weapons are a global threat,
They searched for hidden weapons.
they searched for hidden weapons,
Weapon.
weapon,
Income.
income,
稼ぎまたは得るお金の量。
His annual income increased.
his annual income increased,
They rely on a fixed income.
they rely on a fixed income,
The job provides a steady income.
the job provides a steady income,
Income.
income,
Lightning.
lightning,
急激で強烈な電気放電現象。
Lightning struck the tree.
lightning struck the tree,
The sky lit up with lightning.
the sky lit up with lightning,
They watched the lightning storm.
they watched the lightning storm,
Lightning.
lightning,
Primitive.
primitive,
非常に単純または初期の段階にあること。
They studied primitive cultures.
they studied primitive cultures,
Primitive tools were used for hunting.
primitive tools were used for hunting,
The cabin was quite primitive.
the cabin was quite primitive,
Primitive.
primitive,
Department.
department,
組織の特定の部分または分野。
He works in the marketing department.
he works in the marketing department,
The department store is having a sale.
the department store is having a sale,
She transferred to a different department.
she transferred to a different department,
Department.
department,
Deserve.
deserve,
何かを受けるに足る価値があること。
She deserves the award.
she deserves the award,
He didn't deserve such harsh treatment.
he didn't deserve such harsh treatment,
They deserve our thanks.
they deserve our thanks,
Deserve.
deserve,
Experiment.
experiment,
科学的なテスト、または新しいことを試す行為。
The experiment was conducted in the lab.
the experiment was conducted in the lab,
They experimented with new materials.
they experimented with new materials,
It's an experiment in living differently.
it's an experiment in living differently,
Experiment.
experiment,
Tremendous.
Tremendous.
非常に大きいまたは強烈な。
The news had tremendous impact.
The news had tremendous impact.
They made tremendous progress.
They made tremendous progress.
He felt tremendous pressure.
He felt tremendous pressure.
Tremendous.
Tremendous.
Intend.
Intend.
何かをするつもりであること。
I intend to finish the project soon.
I intend to finish the project soon.
They intend to marry next year.
They intend to marry next year.
He never intended to hurt anyone.
He never intended to hurt anyone.
Intend.
Intend.
Poison.
Poison.
有害な物質、または有害なものを与えること。
The plant's berries contain poison.
The plant's berries contain poison.
He was accused of poisoning the drink.
He was accused of poisoning the drink.
The water supply was poisoned.
The water supply was poisoned.
Poison.
Poison.
Climate.
Climate.
ある地域の平均的な天候や気象状況。
The climate in the area is tropical.
The climate in the area is tropical.
Climate change is a global concern.
Climate change is a global concern.
The city has a mild climate.
The city has a mild climate.
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 Recover.
Recover.
元の状態や健康を取り戻すこと。
He is recovering from surgery.
He is recovering from surgery.
She recovered her lost wallet.
She recovered her lost wallet.
The economy is slowly recovering.
The economy is slowly recovering.
Recover.
Recover.
Arrange.
Arrange.
何かを計画または整理すること。
They arranged a meeting for next week.
They arranged a meeting for next week.
She arranged the flowers beautifully.
She arranged the flowers beautifully.
Can you arrange transportation?
Can you arrange transportation?
Arrange.
Arrange.
Distinguish.
Distinguish.
見分けるまたは識別すること。
He can distinguish different types of birds.
He can distinguish different types of birds.
The feature that distinguishes them is color.
The feature that distinguishes them is color.
It's hard to distinguish fact from fiction.
It's hard to distinguish fact from fiction.
Distinguish.
Distinguish.
Restore.
Restore.
元の状態に戻すこと。
The painting was carefully restored.
The painting was carefully restored.
They are working to restore the old building.
They are working to restore the old building.
He restored peace in the region.
He restored peace in the region.
Restore.
Restore.
Selfish.
Selfish.
自分の利益のみを考えること。
It's selfish to ignore others' needs.
It's selfish to ignore others' needs.
She was accused of being selfish.
She was accused of being selfish.
A selfish decision can harm relationships.
A selfish decision can harm relationships.
Selfish.
Selfish.
Protest.
Protest.
不満や反対の意見を表明すること。
They protested against the new law.
They protested against the new law.
The workers went on strike in protest.
The workers went on strike in protest.
Her silence was a form of protest.
Her silence was a form of protest.
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 Vice.
Vice.
道徳的に悪い習慣や行為。
Gambling is considered a vice.
Gambling is considered a vice.
He was caught in a vice of corruption.
He was caught in a vice of corruption.
She fought against the vices of society.
She fought against the vices of society.
Vice.
Vice.
Temporary.
Temporary.
短期間のみ続くこと。
The job is only temporary.
The job is only temporary.
They lived in temporary housing.
They lived in temporary housing.
The solution was temporary.
The solution was temporary.
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 Moderate.
Moderate.
程よい、または穏やかにすること。
He has moderate views on politics.
He has moderate views on politics.
The moderator helped moderate the debate.
The moderator helped moderate the debate.
Eat and drink in moderate amounts.
Eat and drink in moderate amounts.
Moderate.
Moderate.
Acknowledge.
Acknowledge.
事実や存在を認めること。
She acknowledged her mistake.
She acknowledged her mistake.
He acknowledged receiving the email.
He acknowledged receiving the email.
The problem needs to be acknowledged.
The problem needs to be acknowledged.
Acknowledge.
Acknowledge.
remedy,
remedy,
病気の治療または問題の解決方法。
they sought a remedy for the disease.
they sought a remedy for the disease.
The law provides a remedy for this issue.
The law provides a remedy for this issue.
He tried to remedy the situation.
He tried to remedy the situation.
Remedy,
Remedy,
pole,
pole,
長く細い棒状のもの、または地球の極。
the tent is supported by poles.
the tent is supported by poles.
He reached the North Pole.
He reached the North Pole.
A flag hung from the pole.
A flag hung from the pole.
Pole,
Pole,
sink,
sink,
水中に沈むこと、または水を使う設備。
the ship began to sink.
the ship began to sink.
Wash your hands in the sink.
Wash your hands in the sink.
The kitchen has a double sink.
The kitchen has a double sink.
Sink,
Sink,
ward,
ward,
病院の部門、または保護すること。
she works in the maternity ward.
she works in the maternity ward.
The ward was quiet at night.
The ward was quiet at night.
He became a ward of the state.
He became a ward of the state.
Ward,
Ward,
nephew,
nephew,
兄弟姉妹の息子。
my nephew is starting school this year.
my nephew is starting school this year.
He spent the weekend with his nephew.
He spent the weekend with his nephew.
She bought a gift for her nephew.
She bought a gift for her nephew.
Nephew,
Nephew,
internal,
internal,
内側にある、または内部関連の。
the company faced internal issues.
the company faced internal issues.
The device has an internal memory.
The device has an internal memory.
He suffered from internal injuries.
He suffered from internal injuries.
Internal,
Internal,
summit,
summit,
最高点、または重要な会議。
they reached the mountain summit.
They reached the mountain's summit.
The leaders attended the summit meeting.
The leaders attended the summit meeting.
The summit focused on climate change.
The summit focused on climate change.
Summit,
Summit,
seize,
seize,
力強くつかむ、または法的に没収すること。
the police seized the stolen goods,
the police seized the stolen goods,
he seized the opportunity to speak,
he seized the opportunity to speak,
the assets were seized by the government,
the assets were seized by the government,
seize,
seize,
glimpse,
glimpse,
短時間見ること、または垣間見ること。
she caught a glimpse of the celebrity,
she caught a glimpse of the celebrity,
he glimpsed the future possibilities,
he glimpsed the future possibility,
a glimpse into the past,
a glimpse into the past,
glimpse,
glimpse,
luxury,
luxury,
豊かさや快適さ、またはそれらを提供するもの。
the hotel offered luxury accommodations,
the hotel offered luxury accommodations,
she lives a life of luxury,
she lives a life of luxury,
luxury goods are in high demand,
luxury goods are in high demand,
luxury,
luxury,
arrest,
arrest,
法的に拘束すること、またはその拘束。
the suspect was arrested last night,
the suspect was arrested last night,
the arrest was made without incident,
the arrest was made without incident,
he resisted arrest,
he resisted arrest,
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 inform,
inform,
情報を提供すること。
please inform us of any changes,
please inform us of any changes,
he was informed about the decision,
he was informed about the decision,
she informed the police about the theft,
she informed the police about the theft,
inform,
inform,
prominent,
prominent,
重要で目立つこと。
she is a prominent figure in the industry,
she is a prominent figure in the industry,
the issue became more prominent,
the issue became more prominent,
he played a prominent role in the project,
he played a prominent role in the project,
prominent,
prominent,
capture,
capture,
捉えること、またはその行為。
the photographer captured the moment,
the photographer captured the moment,
they planned to capture the fort,
they planned to capture the fort,
the capture of the city was a key victory,
the capture of the city was a key victory,
capture,
capture,
Rescue.
Rescue.
危険から救い出すこと、またはその行為。
Firefighters rescued the trapped people.
Firefighters rescued the trapped people.
The rescue operation was successful.
The rescue operation was successful.
A dog was rescued from the river.
A dog was rescued from the river.
Rescue.
Rescue.
Limit.
Limit.
最大量や範囲、またはその制限。
There is a limit to what I can do.
There is a limit to what I can do.
The speed limit is 60 kilometers per hour.
The speed limit is 60 kilometers per hour.
He limited his spending.
He limited his spending.
Limit.
Limit.
Purse.
Purse.
お金を入れる小さな袋。
She lost her purse in the store.
She lost her purse in the store.
He took some coins from his purse.
He took some coins from his purse.
The purse contained important documents.
The purse contained important documents.
Purse.
Purse.
Persuade.
Persuade.
説得して意見や行動を変えさせること。
He persuaded her to stay.
He persuaded her to stay.
I couldn't persuade him otherwise.
I couldn't persuade him otherwise.
She was persuaded to join the team.
She was persuaded to join the team.
Persuade.
Persuade.
Interval.
Interval.
二つの出来事の間の期間。
There was a short interval between acts.
There was a short interval between acts.
The train arrives at regular intervals.
The train arrives at regular intervals.
They worked at intervals throughout the day.
They worked at intervals throughout the day.
Interval.
Interval.
Chase.
Chase.
追いかけること、またはその行為。
The cat chased the mouse.
The cat chased the mouse.
The police gave chase to the thief.
The police gave chase to the thief.
The chase ended near the river.
The chase ended near the river.
Chase.
Chase.
Occupy.
Occupy.
ある場所や位置を取ること。
The army occupied the town.
The army occupied the town.
She occupies a high position in the company.
She occupies a high position in the company.
His thoughts were occupied with the problem.
His thoughts were occupied with the problem.
Occupy.
Occupy.
Vivid.
Vivid.
明るくて生き生きとした。
She described the scene in vivid detail.
She described the scene in vivid detail.
The dream was so vivid.
The dream was so vivid.
He has a vivid imagination.
He has a vivid imagination.
Vivid.
Vivid.
Calculate.
Calculate.
数字や可能性を計算すること。
He calculated the cost of the trip.
He calculated the cost of the trip.
We need to calculate the risks involved.
We need to calculate the risks involved.
She calculated her chances of success.
She calculated her chances of success.
Calculate.
Calculate.
Appetite.
Appetite.
食べ物への欲求。
He has a healthy appetite.
He has a healthy appetite.
The walk gave me an appetite.
The walk gave me an appetite.
She lost her appetite due to stress.
She lost her appetite due to stress.
Appetite.
Appetite.
Sphere.
Sphere.
球体、または特定の活動や知識の範囲。
The Earth is a sphere.
The Earth is a sphere.
His sphere of influence is expanding.
His sphere of influence is expanding.
She works in the sphere of education.
She works in the sphere of education.
Sphere.
Sphere.
Encounter.
Encounter.
偶然出会うこと、またはその出会い。
He encountered an old friend in the street.
He encountered an old friend in the street.
The encounter was brief but meaningful.
The encounter was brief but meaningful.
They prepared for a hostile encounter.
They prepared for a hostile encounter.
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 Economy.
Economy.
国や地域の財政や商品の生産交換。
The economy is showing signs of improvement.
The economy is showing signs of improvement.
He studied the global economy.
He studied the global economy.
The government implemented new economy measures.
The government implemented new economy measures.
Economy.
Economy.
Stretch.
Stretch.
長くすること、または伸ばす行為。
She did some stretches before running.
She did some stretches before running.
The road stretches for miles.
The road stretches for miles.
He felt a stretch in his muscles.
He felt a stretch in his muscles.
Stretch.
Stretch.
lean,
lean,
体を傾けること、または脂肪が少ないこと。
lean against the wall if you're tired.
lean against the wall if you're tired.
He has a lean physique.
He has a lean physique.
The meat was lean and healthy.
The meat was lean and healthy.
Lean,
Lean,
tie,
tie,
結ぶこと、またはネクタイ。
tie your shoelaces before you trip.
tie your shoelaces before you trip.
He wore a blue tie to the meeting.
He wore a blue tie to the meeting.
The game ended in a tie.
The game ended in a tie.
Tie,
Tie,
cell,
cell,
生物の基本的な構成単位、またはバッテリーの部分。
The study focused on cancer cells.
the study focused on cancer cells.
He replaced the cell in his watch.
He replaced the cell in his watch.
The prisoner was kept in a cell.
The prisoner was kept in a cell.
Cell,
Cell,
border,
border,
国や地域の境界線、または境界にあること。
The river forms the border between the two countries.
the river forms the border between the two countries.
The garden is bordered by a fence.
The garden is bordered by a fence.
They live near the southern border.
They live near the southern border.
Border,
Border,
abundant,
abundant,
大量に存在すること。
The region has abundant wildlife.
the region has abundant wildlife.
He had abundant energy.
He had abundant energy.
They enjoyed the abundant resources.
They enjoyed the abundant resources.
Abundant,
Abundant,
meanwhile,
meanwhile,
同時に起こっている別のこと。
Meanwhile, the other team scored a goal.
meanwhile, the other team scored a goal.
She started cooking. Meanwhile, he set the table.
She started cooking. Meanwhile, he set the table.
He's studying. Meanwhile, his friends are playing.
He's studying. Meanwhile, his friends are playing.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile,
crisis,
crisis,
重大な状況や難しい局面。
The country is facing an economic crisis.
the country is facing an economic crisis.
They managed the crisis effectively.
They managed the crisis effectively.
The health crisis affected many people.
The health crisis affected many people.
Crisis,
Crisis,
Mount.
Mount.
取り付けること、または山。
He mounted the painting on the wall.
He mounted the painting on the wall.
They planned to mount an expedition.
They planned to mount an expedition.
Mount Fuji is a famous volcano.
Mount Fuji is a famous volcano.
Mount.
Mount.
Despite.
Despite.
ある事情に反して。
Despite the rain, the game continued.
Despite the rain, the game continued.
She succeeded despite the odds.
She succeeded despite the odds.
He remained cheerful despite his illness.
He remained cheerful despite his illness.
Despite.
Despite.
Abandon.
Abandon.
やめる、または手放すこと。
The project was abandoned due to lack of funds.
The project was abandoned due to lack of funds.
They had to abandon their home.
They had to abandon their home.
Don't abandon hope.
Don't abandon hope.
Abandon.
Abandon.
Loyal.
Loyal.
忠誠を示すこと。
He remained loyal to his friends.
He remained loyal to his friends.
She is a loyal customer of the store.
She is a loyal customer of the store.
Loyal supporters cheered the team.
Loyal supporters cheered the team.
Loyal.
Loyal.
Stable.
Stable.
変動が少なく安定していること。
The patient's condition is stable.
The patient's condition is stable.
They have a stable relationship.
They have a stable relationship.
The economy needs to be more stable.
The economy needs to be more stable.
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 Commit.
Commit.
犯罪を犯すこと、または約束すること。
He committed a serious crime.
He committed a serious crime.
Commit to your goals.
Commit to your goals.
The company committed to improving quality.
The company committed to improving quality.
Commit.
Commit.
Affect.
Affect.
何かに影響を与えること。
The weather can affect your mood.
The weather can affect your mood.
His decision will affect the outcome.
His decision will affect the outcome.
Pollution affects the environment.
Pollution affects the environment.
Affect.
Affect.
extend,
extend,
長くする、または範囲を広げること。
They decided to extend the deadline.
they decided to extend the deadline.
He extended a hand in friendship.
he extended a hand in friendship.
The city plans to extend the subway line.
the city plans to extend the subway line.
Extend,
extend,
minor,
minor,
小さな重要でない、または未成年者。
it's a minor problem.
it's a minor problem.
She is still a minor.
she is still a minor.
He received only minor injuries.
he received only minor injuries.
Minor,
minor,
republic,
republic,
国民が政府を選ぶ国家形態。
France is a republic.
France is a republic.
They declared themselves a republic.
they declared themselves a republic.
The republic was established after the revolution.
the republic was established after the revolution.
Republic,
republic,
retain,
retain,
維持する、または持ち続けること。
She retained her composure under pressure.
she retained her composure under pressure.
The lawyer was retained for the case.
the lawyer was retained for the case.
Retain the receipt for your records.
retain the receipt for your records.
Retain,
retain,
accomplish,
accomplish,
目標や任務を完了すること。
He accomplished his goal of running a marathon.
he accomplished his goal of running a marathon.
The team accomplished the project on time.
the team accomplished the project on time.
She has accomplished much in her career.
she has accomplished much in her career.
Accomplish,
accomplish,
conclude,
conclude,
終わらせる、または結論を出すこと。
The meeting was concluded at 5 p.m.
the meeting was concluded at 5 p.m.
He concluded the speech with thanks.
he concluded the speech with thanks.
Scientists concluded that the treatment was effective.
scientists concluded that the treatment was effective.
Conclude,
conclude,
session,
session,
一定期間の活動や会議。
The training session lasted 2 hours.
the training session lasted 2 hours.
Parliament is in session.
Parliament is in session.
They attended a session on marketing.
they attended a session on marketing.
Session,
session,
damp.
damp.
少し湿っている状態。
The walls were damp and cold.
The walls were damp and cold.
She wiped the table with a damp cloth.
She wiped the table with a damp cloth.
The basement has a damp smell.
The basement has a damp smell.
Damp.
Damp.
Spoil.
Spoil.
損なう、または台無しにすること。
Rain spoiled the picnic.
Rain spoiled the picnic.
Don't let the surprise be spoiled.
Don't let the surprise be spoiled.
Spoiled food should be thrown away.
Spoiled food should be thrown away.
Spoil.
Spoil.
Prejudice.
Prejudice.
先入観や偏見を持つこと。
He has no prejudice against any group.
He has no prejudice against any group.
Prejudice can lead to discrimination.
Prejudice can lead to discrimination.
She fought to overcome her prejudices.
She fought to overcome her prejudices.
Prejudice.
Prejudice.
Organ.
Organ.
生物の体内で特定の機能を果たす部位。
The heart is a vital organ.
The heart is a vital organ.
He donated his organs.
He donated his organs.
The organ was removed surgically.
The organ was removed surgically.
Organ.
Organ.
Relate.
Relate.
関連するまたは関係を持つこと。
I can relate to your situation.
I can relate to your situation.
The book relates the history of the war.
The book relates the history of the war.
How does this relate to our project?
How does this relate to our project?
Relate.
Relate.
Flock.
Flock.
鳥や羊などの群れ、または集まること。
A flock of birds flew overhead.
A flock of birds flew overhead.
Tourists flock to the beach each summer.
Tourists flock to the beach each summer.
Shepherds watch over their flocks.
Shepherds watch over their flocks.
Flock.
Flock.
Caution.
Caution.
注意を促すこと、または警告すること。
Exercise caution when walking alone at night.
Exercise caution when walking alone at night.
The teacher cautioned the students.
The teacher cautioned the students.
Caution is advised on slippery roads.
Caution is advised on slippery roads.
Caution.
Caution.
warrior,
warrior,
戦闘や戦争に従事する人。
the ancient warrior fought bravely.
the ancient warrior fought bravely.
She is a warrior for justice.
She is a warrior for justice.
Warriors defended their land.
Warriors defended their land.
Warrior,
Warrior,
concept,
concept,
抽象的な考えや一般的な概念。
the concept of freedom is important.
the concept of freedom is important.
He introduced a new business concept.
He introduced a new business concept.
The concept was difficult to understand.
The concept was difficult to understand.
Concept,
Concept,
extra,
extra,
通常以上のまたは余分なもの。
she worked extra hours.
she worked extra hours.
Do you have an extra pen?
Do you have an extra pen?
He paid extra for a better seat.
He paid extra for a better seat.
Extra,
Extra,
awkward,
awkward,
扱いにくい、または不快な感じ。
the silence was awkward.
the silence was awkward.
He felt awkward in the new job.
He felt awkward in the new job.
It's an awkward position to be in.
It's an awkward position to be in.
Awkward,
Awkward,
adopt,
adopt,
方法や態度を取り入れる、または養子にすること。
they decided to adopt a child.
they decided to adopt a child.
The company will adopt new policies.
The company will adopt new policies.
He adopted a friendly approach.
He adopted a friendly approach.
Adopt,
Adopt,
insist,
insist,
強く要求または主張すること。
she insisted on paying for the meal.
she insisted on paying for the meal.
He insisted that he was innocent.
He insisted that he was innocent.
I insist you take a break.
I insist you take a break.
Insist,
Insist,
leap,
leap,
急に飛ぶこと、または大きな進歩。
the cat can leap over the fence.
the cat can leap over the fence.
He made a leap in his career.
He made a leap in his career.
Leap year occurs every 4 years.
Leap year occurs every 4 years.
Leap,
Leap,
differ,
differ,
違いや相違があること。
opinions differ on this topic,
opinions differ on this topic.
the twins differ in personality,
The twins differ in personality.
the results may differ from expectations,
The results may differ from expectation.
differ,
Differ,
disaster,
disaster,
重大な被害をもたらす突発的な出来事。
the earthquake was a natural disaster,
The earthquake was a natural disaster.
they provided aid after the disaster,
They provided aid after the disaster.
the project ended in disaster,
The project ended in disaster.
disaster,
Disaster,
bet,
bet,
金や物をかける行為、またはそのかけ。
I bet $10 on the horse,
I bet $10 on the horse.
let's make a friendly bet,
Let's make a friendly bet.
he lost the bet,
He lost the bet.
bet,
Bet,
virus,
virus,
微生物の一種で感染を引き起こすことがある。
the flu is caused by a virus,
The flu is caused by a virus.
they are researching a new virus,
They are researching a new virus.
the computer was infected with a virus,
The computer was infected with a virus.
virus,
Virus,
log,
log,
切り倒された木の幹、または記録をつけること。
they chopped the log for firewood,
They chopped the log for firewood.
log your daily activities,
Log your daily activities.
the captain logged the ship's course,
The captain logged the ship's course.
log,
Log,
engage,
engage,
何かに積極的に関わること。
she is engaged in volunteer work,
She is engaged in volunteer work.
the gears failed to engage,
The gears failed to engage.
they engaged in a lively discussion,
They engaged in a lively discussion.
engage,
Engage,
attain,
attain,
目標やレベルに達すること。
he attained his goal of becoming a doctor,
He attained his goal of becoming a doctor.
she attained a high level of skill,
She attained a high level of skill.
the athlete attained a new record,
The athlete attained a new record.
attain,
Attain,
Compliment.
compliment,
誰かを褒めること、またはその褒め言葉。
He complimented her on her cooking.
he complimented her on her cooking.
She received many compliments at the party.
She received many compliments at the party.
A compliment can brighten someone's day.
A compliment can brighten someone's day.
Compliment.
Compliment,
Document.
document,
書かれた記録、または記録をつけること。
He signed the official document.
he signed the official document.
The events were documented in a journal.
The events were documented in a journal.
Document your research findings.
Document your research findings.
Document.
Document,
Punish.
punish,
罰を与えること。
The judge will punish the offender.
the judge will punish the offender.
She was punished for breaking the rules.
She was punished for breaking the rule.
The school has a policy to punish bullying.
The school has a policy to punish bullying.
Punish.
Punish,
Decline.
decline,
断ること、または衰えること。
He declined the invitation.
he declined the invitation.
The company's profits are in decline.
The company's profits are in decline.
Her health began to decline.
Her health began to decline.
Decline.
Decline,
Recommend.
recommend,
進めること、または推奨すること。
I recommend this book highly.
I recommend this book highly.
The doctor recommended rest.
The doctor recommended rest.
Can you recommend a good restaurant?
Can you recommend a good restaurant?
Recommend.
Recommend,
Fund.
fund,
資金、または資金を提供すること。
The project was funded by the government.
The project was funded by the government.
They set up a fund for disaster relief.
They set up a fund for disaster relief.
She donated to the education fund.
She donated to the education fund.
Fund.
Fund,
Sheer.
sheer,
完全に、または透明であること。
The cliff was a sheer drop.
the cliff was a sheer drop.
She wore a dress with a sheer fabric.
She wore a dress with a sheer fabric.
It was sheer luck that we found it.
It was sheer luck that we found it.
Sheer.
Sheer,
applause,
applause,
手を叩いて表現する称賛。
The performance received loud applause.
the performance received loud applause.
He walked on stage to applause.
He walked on stage to applause.
Applause broke out at the end of the speech.
Applause broke out at the end of the speech.
Applause.
Applause.
Tend.
Tend.
ある傾向があること。
He tends to be late.
He tends to be late.
Plants tend to grow towards the light.
Plants tend to grow towards the light.
She tends to worry too much.
She tends to worry too much.
Tend.
Tend.
Tremble.
Tremble.
小さく震えること。
He trembled with fear.
He trembled with fear.
Her voice trembled as she spoke.
Her voice trembled as she spoke.
The ground trembled during the earthquake.
The ground trembled during the earthquake.
Tremble.
Tremble.
Scholar.
Scholar.
学問の専門家や研究者。
The scholar published a new study.
The scholar published a new study.
He is a scholar of ancient history.
He is a scholar of ancient history.
She received a scholarship for her research.
She received a scholarship for her research.
Scholar.
Scholar.
Entertain.
Entertain.
娯楽や楽しみを提供すること。
They entertained guests at their home.
They entertained guests at their home.
The movie was very entertaining.
The movie was very entertaining.
She entertains the idea of traveling the world.
She entertains the idea of traveling the world.
Entertain.
Entertain.
Hesitate.
Hesitate.
決断や行動を遅らせること。
She hesitated before answering.
She hesitated before answering.
Don't hesitate to ask for help.
Don't hesitate to ask for help.
He hesitated to take the risk.
He hesitated to take the risk.
Hesitate.
Hesitate.
Barely.
Barely.
やっとのことで、ほとんどない状態。
She barely passed the exam.
She barely passed the exam.
He could barely see in the dark.
He could barely see in the dark.
They barely made it on time.
They barely made it on time.
Barely.
Barely.
Facility.
Facility.
特定の目的のための場所や設備。
The sports facility is open to the public.
The sports facility is open to the public.
The facility was equipped with modern technology.
The facility was equipped with modern technology.
The company has a manufacturing facility.
The company has a manufacturing facility.
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 Divide.
Divide.
何かをいくつかの部分に分けること。
Divide the cake into equal parts.
Divide the cake into equal parts.
The river divides the city.
The river divides the city.
Opinions are divided on this issue.
Opinions are divided on this issue.
Divide.
Divide.
Incredible.
Incredible.
驚くほど素晴らしい、または信じがたい。
The magician performed an incredible trick.
The magician performed an incredible trick.
Her recovery was incredible.
Her recovery was incredible.
It's incredible that he won the race.
It's incredible that he won the race.
Incredible.
Incredible.
Brick.
Brick.
建築材料の一種であるレンガ。
The house was made of brick.
The house was made of brick.
He laid the bricks carefully.
He laid the bricks carefully.
The brick wall surrounded the garden.
The brick wall surrounded the garden.
Brick.
Brick.
Warn.
Warn.
危険や問題について知らせること。
The weather report warned of a storm.
The weather report warned of a storm.
She warned him not to be late.
She warned him not to be late.
The sign warned of a steep cliff ahead.
The sign warned of a steep cliff ahead.
Warn.
Warn.
Shallow.
Shallow.
深さがあまりないこと。
The water was shallow near the shore.
The water was shallow near the shore.
He prefers shallow conversations.
He prefers shallow conversation.
The roots of the plant are shallow.
The roots of the plant are shallow.
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 Transfer.
Transfer.
何かを別の場所や人に移すこと。
Transfer the data to a new computer.
Transfer the data to a new computer.
He requested a transfer to another department.
He requested a transfer to another department.
The transfer of ownership was completed.
The transfer of ownership was completed.
Transfer.
Transfer.
swell,
swell,
膨れ上がること、またはその膨れ。
her ankle began to swell,
her ankle began to swell,
the crowd swelled to hundreds,
the crowd swelled to hundreds,
he felt a swell of pride,
he felt a swell of pride,
swell,
swell,
convince,
convince,
説得して信じさせること。
he convinced her to stay,
he convinced her to stay,
it's hard to convince skeptics,
it's hard to convince skeptics,
she convinced everyone of her plan's merit,
she convinced everyone of her plan's merit,
convince,
convince,
stare,
stare,
長い間、じっと見つめること。
she stared at the painting in awe,
she stared at the painting in awe,
don't stare at strangers,
don't stare at strangers,
he stared out the window, lost in thought,
he stared out the window, lost in thought,
stare,
stare,
select,
select,
選択すること、または選ばれたもの。
select the best option available,
select the best option available,
she was selected for the team,
she was selected for the team,
the jury is made up of select members,
the jury is made up of select members,
select,
select,
resolve,
resolve,
固い決心、または問題の解決。
she resolved to change her lifestyle,
she resolved to change her lifestyle,
they resolved the dispute peacefully,
they resolved the dispute peacefully,
his resolve was unbreakable,
his resolve was unbreakable,
resolve,
resolve,
drag,
drag,
引きずること、または退屈な状況。
he dragged the chair across the room,
he dragged the chair across the room,
the meeting was a real drag,
the meeting was a real drag,
don't drag me into your problems,
don't drag me into your problems,
drag,
drag,
rational,
rational,
理性的で合理的な。
it's important to make rational decisions,
it's important to make rational decisions,
his argument was rational and convincing,
his argument was rational and convincing,
she questioned the rational basis of his plan,
she questioned the rational basis of his plan,
rational,
rational,
crop,
crop,
農作物、または収穫すること。
the farmer harvested the wheat crop,
the farmer harvested the wheat crop,
crop rotation improves soil health,
crop rotation improves soil health,
a new crop of students enters the university each year,
a new crop of students enters the university each year,
crop,
crop,
accurate,
accurate,
正確で間違いのないこと。
his predictions were remarkably accurate,
his predictions were remarkably accurate,
accurate information is essential for research,
accurate information is essential for research,
she made an accurate shot in the game,
she made an accurate shot in the game,
accurate,
accurate,
resort,
resort,
休暇を過ごす場所、または頼ること。
they spent their vacation at a beach resort,
they spent their vacation at a beach resort,
he had to resort to borrowing money,
he had to resort to borrowing money,
the resort offers many recreational activities,
the resort offers many recreational activities,
resort,
resort,
bond,
bond,
強い結びつき、または接着すること。
the experience created a bond between them,
the experience created a bond between them,
the glue bonds the pieces together,
the glue bonds the pieces together,
family bonds are important,
family bonds are important,
bond,
bond,
blush,
blush,
顔をあからめること、またはその赤み。
she blushed when complimented,
she blushed when complimented,
he noticed her blush and smiled,
he noticed her blush and smile,
a blush spread across her cheeks,
a blush spread across her cheeks,
blush,
blush,
monument,
monument,
重要な人や出来事を記念する建造物。
the monument stands in the city center,
the monument stands in the city center,
they visited a historical monument,
they visited a historical monument,
the monument is a popular tourist attraction,
the monument is a popular tourist attraction,
monument,
monument,
thorough,
thorough,
完全で細部にわたること。
he conducted a thorough investigation,
he conducted a thorough investigation,
the doctor gave her a thorough checkup,
the doctor gave her a thorough checkup,
a thorough cleaning is necessary,
a thorough cleaning is necessary,
thorough,
thorough,
Conservative.
Conservative.
伝統的な価値や態度を支持すること。
His views are quite conservative.
His views are quite conservative.
The party has a conservative approach.
The party has a conservative approach.
She dresses in a conservative style.
She dresses in a conservative style.
Conservative.
Conservative.
Acquire.
Acquire.
手に入れるまたは得ること。
She acquired a taste for fine wine.
She acquired a taste for fine wine.
The company acquired a new client.
The company acquired a new client.
He acquired his skills through practice.
He acquired his skills through practice.
Acquire.
Acquire.
Ripe.
Ripe.
完全に熟して食べ頃の。
The fruit is ripe and ready to eat.
The fruit is ripe and ready to eat.
The tomatoes are not yet ripe.
The tomatoes are not yet ripe.
The time is ripe for change.
The time is ripe for change.
Ripe.
Ripe.
Lecture.
Lecture.
教育的な講話、またはそのような話をすること。
She attended a lecture on history.
She attended a lecture on history.
The professor lectured on economics.
The professor lectured on economics.
He gave a lecture to the students.
He gave a lecture to the students.
Lecture.
Lecture.
Function.
Function.
特定の目的または活動、またはそのために働くこと。
The function of the heart is to pump blood.
The function of the heart is to pump blood.
The device functions as a router.
The device functions as a router.
They attended a social function.
They attended a social function.
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 Bullet.
Bullet.
銃から発射される金属製の弾。
The bullet missed its target.
The bullet missed its target.
He was hit by a stray bullet.
He was hit by a stray bullet.
Bulletproof vests can save lives.
Bulletproof vests can save lives.
Bullet.
Bullet.
Superstition.
Superstition.
根拠のない信念や恐れ、しばしば運命や未来に関連する。
Walking under a ladder is a common superstition.
Walking under a ladder is a common superstition.
She believes in the superstition about black cats.
She believes in the superstition about black cats.
Superstitions can influence behavior.
Superstitions can influence behavior.
Superstition.
Superstition.
Substantial.
Substantial.
かなりの量または大きさ。
They made substantial profits.
They made substantial profits.
A substantial meal satisfies hunger.
A substantial meal satisfies hunger.
The project requires substantial funding.
The project requires substantial funding.
Substantial.
Substantial.
Partial.
Partial.
完全でなく、一部分に限られた。
He has a partial understanding of the issue.
He has a partial understanding of the issue.
The victory was only partial.
The victory was only partial.
There was partial damage to the building.
There was partial damage to the building.
Partial.
Partial.
Allowance.
Allowance.
定期的に与えられる金額、または許される範囲。
He receives a monthly travel allowance.
He receives a monthly travel allowance.
An allowance for error is necessary.
An allowance for error is necessary.
She gives her children a weekly allowance.
She gives her children a weekly allowance.
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 Unite.
Unite.
一つにまとめること。
The two companies decided to unite.
The two companies decided to unite.
They united in their efforts to help.
They united in their efforts to help.
The cause united people from different backgrounds.
The cause united people from different backgrounds.
Unite.
Unite.
Journal.
Journal.
定期的に発行される出版物、または個人の日記。
She published an article in a medical journal.
She published an article in a medical journal.
He keeps a journal of his travels.
He keeps a journal of his travels.
Reading scientific journals is part of my job.
Reading scientific journals is part of my job.
Journal.
Journal.
Abstract.
Abstract.
具体的でない概念、または要約。
His ideas were too abstract for me.
His ideas were too abstract for me.
The abstract summarizes the research.
The abstract summarizes the research.
She prefers abstract art.
She prefers abstract art.
Abstract.
Abstract.
Accent.
Accent.
発音の特徴、または強調すること。
He speaks with a British accent.
He speaks with a British accent.
The accent is on the second syllable.
The accent is on the second syllable.
She accented the positive aspects.
She accented the positive aspects.
Accent.
Accent.
Approve.
Approve.
正式に認めるまたは賛成すること。
The plan was approved by the board.
The plan was approved by the board.
I don't approve of his behavior.
I don't approve of his behavior.
The loan was approved.
The loan was approved.
Approve.
Approve.
Stem.
Stem.
植物の主要な支持部、または由来すること。
The rose has a long stem.
The rose has a long stem.
The problem stems from a misunderstanding.
The problem stems from a misunderstanding.
Stem cells have the potential to become different types of cells.
Stem cells have the potential to become different types of cell.
Stem.
Stem.
Urge.
Urge.
強く進めること、または衝動。
They urged him to apply for the job.
They urged him to apply for the job.
She felt an urge to travel.
She felt an urge to travel.
The campaign urges healthy eating.
The campaign urges healthy eating.
Urge.
Urge.
Reduce.
Reduce.
量や大きさを小さくすること。
We need to reduce our expenses.
We need to reduce our expenses.
The treatment reduced the pain.
The treatment reduced the pain.
Reduce the heat and simmer the sauce.
Reduce the heat and simmer the sauce.
Reduce.
Reduce.
Split.
Split.
分けること、または分裂。
They decided to split the profits.
They decided to split the profits.
The group was split on the decision.
The group was split on the decision.
The wood split easily.
The wood split easily.
Split.
Split.
Democracy.
Democracy.
政治的な決定が国民によって行われるシステム。
The country is a model of democracy.
The country is a model of democracy.
They fought for democracy and freedom.
They fought for democracy and freedom.
Democracy allows for free elections.
Democracy allows for free election.
Democracy.
Democracy.
Canal.
Canal.
水路や水運のために作られた人工の水路。
The canal connects two rivers.
The canal connects two rivers.
Boats travel through the canal.
Boats travel through the canal.
The canal was built for transportation.
The canal was built for transportation.
Canal.
Canal.
Analysis.
Analysis.
物事を詳しく調べ、理解するプロセス。
The data requires careful analysis.
The data requires careful analysis.
She presented an analysis of the problem.
She presented an analysis of the problem.
Analysis can reveal hidden patterns.
Analysis can reveal hidden patterns.
Analysis.
Analysis.
Garment.
Garment.
着るための服。
She designs elegant garments.
She designs elegant garments.
The factory produces various garments.
The factory produces various garments.
He wore a traditional garment.
He wore a traditional garment.
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 Strip.
Strip.
長く細い部分、または何かを取り除く行為。
The strip of land was narrow.
The strip of land was narrow.
He stripped the paint from the wall.
He stripped the paint from the wall.
A comic strip made her laugh.
A comic strip made her laugh.
Strip.
Strip.
Volunteer.
Volunteer.
自発的に何かをする人、またはその行為。
She works as a volunteer at the hospital.
She works as a volunteer at the hospital.
He volunteered to help the team.
He volunteered to help the team.
Many people volunteer their time for charity.
Many people volunteer their time for charity.
Volunteer.
Volunteer.
Deaf.
Deaf.
聴覚に障害があること。
He is deaf but communicates using sign language.
He is deaf but communicates using sign language.
The school specializes in teaching deaf children.
The school specializes in teaching deaf children.
Deaf communities have their own cultures.
Deaf communities have their own cultures.
Deaf.
Deaf.
Diameter.
Diameter.
円または玉の端から端までの直線の長さ。
The diameter of the circle was 10 centimeters.
The diameter of the circle was 10 centimeters.
Measure the diameter of the pipe.
Measure the diameter of the pipe.
The tree's diameter showed its age.
The tree's diameter showed its age.
Diameter.
Diameter.
Era.
Era.
歴史上の特定の期間。
The Victorian era was known for its innovations.
The Victorian era was known for its innovation.
We are living in a digital era.
We are living in a digital era.
The discovery marked a new era in science.
The discovery marked a new era in science.
Era.
Era.
breed,
breed,
動植物の特定の品種、または繁殖させること。
the farmer breeds cattle for milk production.
the farmer breeds cattle for milk production.
She has a breed of rare birds.
She has a breed of rare birds.
New plant breeds are developed for better yields.
New plant breeds are developed for better yields.
Breed,
breed,
alternative,
alternative,
別の選択肢、またはそのような性質。
they offered an alternative solution.
they offered an alternative solution.
Seek alternative energy sources.
Seek alternative energy sources.
He had no alternative but to leave.
He had no alternative but to leave.
Alternative,
Alternative,
imaginary,
imaginary,
実在しない、想像上の。
dragons are imaginary creatures.
dragons are imaginary creatures.
The children created an imaginary world.
the children created an imaginary world.
She has an imaginary friend.
she has an imaginary friend.
Imaginary,
imaginary,
attract,
attract,
注意や関心を引きつけること。
The museum attracts many visitors.
the museum attracts many visitors.
Bright colors attract the eye.
bright colors attract the eye.
The city's nightlife attracts young people.
the city's nightlife attracts young people.
Attract,
attract,
device,
device,
特定の目的で設計された機械や装置。
The device is used for measuring temperature.
the device is used for measuring temperature.
He invented a new device for cleaning.
he invented a new device for cleaning.
Mobile devices are popular.
mobile devices are popular.
Device,
device,
transport,
transport,
物や人を運ぶこと、またはその手段。
the goods were transported by truck.
the goods were transported by truck.
Public transport is very efficient here.
public transport is very efficient here.
They used horses for transport in the past.
they used horses for transport in the past.
Transport,
transport,
eventually,
eventually,
最終的に、結局のところ。
she eventually became a lawyer.
she eventually became a lawyer.
The truth will eventually come out.
the truth will eventually come out.
They eventually agreed on a plan.
they eventually agreed on a plan.
Eventually,
eventually,
Constitute.
Constitute.
何かの一部または要素であること。
Women constitute a large part of the workforce.
Women constitute a large part of the workforce.
These factors constitute a risk.
These factors constitute a risk.
The committee is constituted by experts.
The committee is constituted by experts.
Constitute.
Constitute.
Complex.
Complex.
多くの部分からなる、または複合施設。
The issue is more complex than it seems.
The issue is more complex than it seems.
They live in a housing complex.
They live in a housing complex.
He has a complex about his height.
He has a complex about his height.
Complex.
Complex.
Hire.
Hire.
仕事に人を雇うこと。
They decided to hire a new employee.
They decided to hire a new employee.
You can hire a car at the airport.
You can hire a car at the airport.
The company hires freelancers.
The company hires freelancers.
Hire.
Hire.
Modify.
Modify.
少し変更または修正すること。
They had to modify the original plan.
They had to modify the original plan.
The car has been modified for racing.
The car has been modified for racing.
Modify your resume to fit the job.
Modify your resume to fit the job.
Modify.
Modify.
Complicated.
Complicated.
理解や解決が困難な。
The situation is quite complicated.
The situation is quite complicated.
A complicated network of relationships.
A complicated network of relationships.
The machine was too complicated to operate.
The machine was too complicated to operate.
Complicated.
Complicated.
Substitute.
Substitute.
他のもので代用すること、またはその代替品。
Can you substitute butter for oil?
Can you substitute butter for oil?
He was a substitute in the game.
He was a substitute in the game.
The teacher was a substitute.
The teacher was a substitute.
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 Usage.
Usage.
使い方や使用の仕方。
Correct usage of the word is important.
Correct usage of the word is important.
The software tracks your internet usage.
The software tracks your internet usage.
He's familiar with Old English usage.
He's familiar with Old English usage.
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 Agriculture.
Agriculture.
農産物の栽培や家畜の飼育。
He works in the field of agriculture.
He works in the field of agriculture.
Agriculture is vital to the country's economy.
Agriculture is vital to the country's economy.
The region is known for its agriculture.
The region is known for its agriculture.
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 Urgent.
Urgent.
急を要する、緊急性が高い。
The matter is of urgent importance.
The matter is of urgent importance.
They received an urgent call for help.
They received an urgent call for help.
He had an urgent need to leave.
He had an urgent need to leave.
Urgent.
Urgent.
Classical.
Classical.
古典機のまたは伝統的な様式。
She loves classical music.
She loves classical music.
Classical literature is his field of study.
Classical literature is his field of study.
The building has a classical design.
The building has a classical design.
Classical.
Classical.
Efficient.
Efficient.
効率的で、時間や資源を無駄にしない。
The new system is more efficient.
The new system is more efficient.
He's known for his efficient work style.
He's known for his efficient work style.
Efficient use of energy is important.
Efficient use of energy is important.
Efficient.
Efficient.
Sweat.
Sweat.
体から出る水分、またはその行為。
He wiped the sweat from his forehead.
He wiped the sweat from his forehead.
The workout made her sweat.
The workout made her sweat.
Sweat is a natural body response.
Sweat is a natural body response.
Sweat.
Sweat.
Scream.
Scream.
大声で叫ぶこと、またはその声。
She screamed in terror.
She screamed in terror.
The crowd let out a scream of excitement.
The crowd let out a scream of excitement.
His scream echoed through the house.
His scream echoed through the house.
Scream.
Scream.
Compromise.
Compromise.
お互いの要求を一部譲り合うこと。
They reached a compromise in the negotiation.
They reached a compromise in the negotiation.
Compromise is key in a relationship.
Compromise is key in a relationship.
He refused to compromise his principles.
He refused to compromise his principle.
Compromise.
Compromise.
Fold.
Fold.
折りたたむことまたは折り目。
Fold the paper in half.
Fold the paper in half.
The shirt has a neat fold.
The shirt has a neat fold.
He folded the map and put it away.
He folded the map and put it away.
Fold.
Fold.
Logic.
Logic.
論理的な思考や推論。
His argument lacked logic.
His argument lacked logic.
Logic is important in problem solving.
Logic is important in problem solving.
She explained her decision with clear logic.
She explained her decision with clear logic.
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 Stress.
Stress.
精神的圧迫感、または重要性を強調すること。
He is under a lot of stress.
He is under a lot of stress.
The teacher stressed the importance of reading.
The teacher stressed the importance of reading.
Stress can affect health.
Stress can affect health.
Stress.
Stress.
Crash.
Crash.
激しくぶつかること、または急激に下落すること。
The car crash was serious.
The car crash was serious.
The stock market crashed.
The stock market crashed.
He crashed into the wall.
He crashed into the wall.
Crash.
Crash.
Resemble.
Resemble.
何かが他のものに似ていること。
She resembles her mother.
She resembles her mother.
The symptoms resemble those of the flu.
The symptoms resemble those of the flu.
This painting resembles a masterpiece.
This painting resembles a masterpiece.
Resemble.
Resemble.
Crush.
Crush.
強く圧迫して壊すこと、または圧倒すること。
The machine can crush the cans.
The machine can crush the cans.
They suffered a crushing defeat.
They suffered a crushing defeat.
He had a crush on his classmate.
He had a crush on his classmate.
Crush.
Crush.
Phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
観察される事象や出来事。
The northern lights are a natural phenomenon.
The northern lights are a natural phenomenon.
His rapid rise to fame was a phenomenon.
His rapid rise to fame was a phenomenon.
The phenomenon puzzled scientists.
The phenomenon puzzled scientists.
Phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
behave,
behave,
振る舞いや行動の仕方。
The children behaved well at the party.
the children behaved well at the party.
How should I behave in this situation?
How should I behave in this situation?
He behaved like a true gentleman.
He behaved like a true gentleman.
Behave,
Behave,
rely,
rely,
信頼または依存すること。
You can rely on me.
you can rely on me.
She relies heavily on her assistant.
She relies heavily on her assistant.
We rely on technology in our daily life.
We rely on technology in our daily life.
Rely,
Rely,
promote,
promote,
進歩や成長を助けること。
The campaign is designed to promote healthy eating.
The campaign is designed to promote healthy eating.
He was promoted to manager.
He was promoted to manager.
They are working to promote peace.
They are working to promote peace.
Promote,
Promote,
obstacle,
obstacle,
進行を妨げるもの。
lack of funding was a major obstacle.
lack of funding was a major obstacle.
Overcoming obstacles is part of life.
Overcoming obstacles is part of life.
They removed the obstacles from the road.
They removed the obstacles from the road.
Obstacle,
Obstacle,